The film commences with Isha, who narrates her own story and elucidates that she experiences the same fear each night, where she envisions a remarkably handsome man residing in a large house who approaches her more closely with each passing day. Today, as Isha was witnessing this vision once more, we observed that in reality, she also had a demon, which clearly signified that a demon had taken possession of Isha. Nevertheless, when Isha awakens during the night, she feels content when her husband arrives home, but she is also upset that her husband has begun returning home very late every single day. She instructs her husband to maintain everything in proper order. She tells him to keep things in place, and he does, but we see that a demon throws all those things around, which makes Isha angry. This leads to an argument between Isha and her husband, and he leaves without eating dinner, upset. The next day, Isha goes to work and shares her concerns with her friend, saying she feels her husband has changed. He doesn't give her attention like before, and her friend explains that she also doesn't treat him like she used to. She doesn't speak sweetly to him or get ready for him as she did before. Her friend advises her that if she wants her husband to give her attention, she should also get ready for him tonight. Be prepared. Meanwhile, her husband Ariel was also worried about the same thing, that she wasn't happy with him. He shared this concern with his senior, who advised him to have a good conversation with Isha. So that night, when Ariel came home, Isha was well prepared. She spoke to him nicely and they had a wonderful day together. This discussion was fruitful. Ariel loved Isha, and Isha loved Ariel too. However, during this time, we also see them with the team end. You start thinking, and in her dream, she sees the same handsome man again. It was as if he said, "You cannot escape my captivity." Hearing this, Isha woke up frightened. In the dream, that man had placed a flower on her stomach. When Isha woke up scared, she saw that the flower was lying on her bed and her husband, Ariel, was not there. Somewhere downstairs, Ariel had made breakfast for her. They both apologized to each other for their past mistakes and decided to start a new life together. When Isha went to the storeroom, she saw the same flower that was on her bed. As she was about to pick it up, someone else already had. When she looked back, she saw the man from her dream. The average man was now directly in front of her, advancing swiftly in her direction. She was uncertain about the reason for her fear, and the moment she glimpsed her reflection in the mirror, she grew even more terrified because the reflection revealed a monstrous demon. It resembled a devil, and witnessing it caused her to vomit. When she proceeded to the bathroom, her friend accompanied her. Without uttering a word to her friend, she departed, and her friend became extremely disturbed upon witnessing her vomit, as it contained blood and numerous worm-like entities. Later in the evening, she meets Isha's sister, and from their conversation, we learn that Isha loves children. However, despite being healthy, she didn't have any children yet, and the doctors were giving her some medications. She now asks Ariel to bring her medicines, and as soon as she gets a message from Isha, she sees Isha in her empty building. Surprised, she calls out to her, but Isha starts running. He runs after her and sees that Isha has suddenly become strange. Her belly swells up, she becomes pregnant, and suddenly, with a jolt, her child is born. The child looks completely demonic and starts moving towards Ariel and Richa. With a weird grin at Ariel, she continues to smile while observing. To prevent the child from harm, the train proceeds and collides with his senior. He was explaining to his senior about the longing he felt behind him, but when he turned around, there was no one present behind him. Ariel requests a leave and returns home. Ram notices that she appeared quite normal and was conversing with him in an ordinary manner, yet Ariel was acting unusually with Ida, and Ida sensed it as well. He instructs Ika to contact the healthcare professional in the morning, and with that, he retires for the night. Even during his sleep, he kept experiencing all the visions from the previous night, which continued to frighten him repeatedly. In the morning, the women whom Ariel had summoned, they arrive and commence massaging Isha, and during this process, they inform Ariel that Isha is approximately 3 months pregnant. Upon hearing this, Isha becomes extremely delighted, whereas Ariel is quite distressed. It was impossible for her to be 3 months pregnant because Ariel and Isha hadn't been intimate for the past 6 months. Ariel confides in his senior about everything, who also advises that he should have a direct conversation with Isha regarding all these issues. Meanwhile, Isha is overjoyed as though she has discovered a hidden treasure. She joyfully shares the news of her pregnancy with all her colleagues, but we observe The friend was not happy today. She was worried about Moisa because the previous day she had seen worms and blood in Icha's vomiting, which was not a good sign. However, Icha was very happy, so she ignored everything her friend said. In the parking lot, Ariel detected the sound of a baby crying emanating from a parked vehicle. Upon closer examination with a flashlight, he noticed a demonic infant inside. Overcome with fear, he ran away, and as he did, we observed that a demon was holding on to the child. Back at his home, Ariel scrutinized Icha's phone because of his suspicions concerning her, and he found a message from a man. When he questioned her about it, she explained that the man was her childhood friend who was simply talking to her after having a disagreement with his wife. There was absolutely nothing going on between him and Isha. Isha comprehended why Ariel harbored suspicions about her. In her frustration, she declared to Ariel that the following day they would go and have a test conducted, and she would demonstrate that this child is indeed his. Agreeing to Isha's statement, they proceeded to the hospital the next morning, where the doctor examined Isha and found that she was not actually pregnant. So, what was all this about? The doctor elucidated that when a woman has a strong desire to become a mother and becomes fixated on it, her body frequently begins to change in such a manner that she believes she is expecting. The healthcare professionals also only assessed based on her physical appearance. The form was utilized to inform her that she was expecting a child. However, there was absolutely nothing of that nature. Upon hearing all of this, Isha becomes even more anxious, and Ariel feels deeply sorrowful for having unjustly doubted Isha. Isha was distressed, so she went and confided everything to her friend, who remarked that what was occurring to her was not right. Consequently, she takes Isha to her mentor, Jenny. The moment Jenny sees Isha, he observes the same demon lurking behind her and realizes that Isha is confronting a significant problem. He then invites Isha and her friend inside and begins explaining to them about such. They commence narrating about individuals whose occupation is to disrupt people's matrimonial lives. At this juncture, they inquire of Isha whether she experiences any dreams or illusions. Upon Isha sharing her dreams, they reveal to her that there exists a demon trailing her that destroys people's households. Isha then proceeds to inform Mr. Jenny about her pregnancy predicament, to which Mr. Jenny responds by stating that she was indeed not truly pregnant, and upon receiving this information, she becomes even more. Anger does not manifest. Isha was in an extremely poor condition, so her friend remained by her side for quite an extended period today. She stayed until Isha drifted off to sleep, and then she departed to return home. On her way, she noticed a small kitten on the road and gently picked it up to place it safely aside so it would not get crushed. But suddenly she experienced something peculiar. When she turned around, she saw the very same gym where she had taken Isha to Mr. Jenny to save Cha. That is why Jan was extremely furious and attacked Isha's friend, ultimately killing her. Isha had witnessed all of this in a dream and awoke frightened. The sound was remarkably clear. During the intense and fierce confrontation when she stepped outside, her friend lay lifeless just as she had witnessed in her dream. Her friend's tragic and untimely death devastated Isha profoundly. Isha felt an overwhelming sense of guilt, believing her friend perished because of her. When Ariel returned home, he discovered Isha crying intensely. After Isha shared everything with Ariel, he felt deeply saddened as well. Then, while sobbing, Isha's belly suddenly swelled as if she were pregnant. Observing this, they both became extremely worried. The following morning, Isha tells Ariel about the recurring dreams she had every single day and about which Saini. You mentioned that these are dreams revealed by the jinn. At this juncture, Ariel considers it most prudent to accompany Isha to Mr. Jenny. Mr. Jenny perceives the significant distress that both Isha and Ariel are experiencing, so he consents to assist them, and Isha's exorcism ritual commences to liberate her from the demon. However, this demon was exceptionally powerful. During the exorcism, it infiltrates Isha's body and, in an ominous voice, declares that they cannot separate this treatment from Isha because, in an alternate dimension, in another realm, Isha has... This demon was once united in matrimony, and subsequently it departs from Isha's body, inflicting considerable torment upon her. Mr. Jaini conveys to Beryl that this jinn wreaks havoc on the lives of couples like them, and it is crucial to eliminate it. To achieve this, he supplies them with particular verses to recite diligently each day. They meticulously read those verses for a duration of 14 days, and indeed, their lives become considerably more normal, and the nightmares cease to occur. One day, Isha receives information that she will be required to travel out of town for work-related purposes. Although Poicha was reluctant to leave her in such a vulnerable condition, traveling to another city would provide him with a substantial amount of money, which would resolve all their financial difficulties. He reassures her, You should be aware, I am capable of taking care of myself. After her husband departs, she recites the same verse and proceeds to sleep, but today, there is something peculiar about her residence. This indicates that the jinn had returned and intended to exploit Ariel's absence. In the morning, when she went to the office, all her employees' eyes changed. They started looking at each other in a frightening manner and began saying in strange voices that she couldn't leave them. All these things scared Isha a lot, and she called her sister home at night. Isha had now informed Ariel about all these things on a call. Did all this happen to her? Now Ariel calls Isha's sister and tells her that no matter what happens, don't let Isha sleep. Because the last time this happened, when her friend took her to Mr. Jenny, after Isha fell asleep, the jinn killed Isha's friend, and now if Isha falls asleep, the jinn will surely... He could attack both of them, so she keeps Isha engaged in conversation, but while talking, she was in such profound despair that she found herself unable to control her emotions. Her sister attempted to rouse her by shaking her vigorously. When Ika did not awaken, a spirit abruptly attacked her sister, initially placing a hand on her shoulder and subsequently hurling her off the bed. Her sister stumbled out of the room, and an unseen force lifted her and slammed her forcefully against the wall, causing her to lose consciousness somewhere. When Ika's eyes opened a little while later, she had forgotten about her stomach once again and was in significant pain. Observing this, she became enraged and began to stagger downstairs. She was entirely unaware of her sister, who was positioned by the staircase in an unconscious state at that particular moment. She endeavors to employ a hanger in an attempt to remove the child from within her, but she does not succeed. By the time ATL arrives, Isha's condition has worsened considerably. He revives Isha's sister and then quickly transports Isha to Mr. Jaini's residence, where Mr. Saini calls upon numerous other individuals and they begin to pray. Meanwhile, within Isha's dream, we observe an entirely different world, which was... She could distinctly hear the resonating prayers of all these individuals in the world, and she earnestly desired to accompany those prayers. She longed to depart from that realm, but at that moment, Mujena informs her that she is not permitted to leave his domain. Terrified, she begins to run frantically, and her frantic running infuriates that day, who abruptly approaches Ita and seizes her from behind. As soon as he ensnares her in the world of jinns, in the tangible world, Ita abruptly rises from the bed in a possessed manner, and her bed also elevates into the air. She was possessed, and she was laughing eerily like the jinns. These individuals, they commenced reading the prayers with even greater intensity, causing that particular day to experience significant distress. It attempts to intimidate Mr. Muna as well, but Mr. Saini remains unshaken. In such circumstances, that day also begins to endure suffering, and its control over Ita diminishes. As Ita and her bed descend to the ground, Ariel begins to recite the same prayers on the floor, and in this manner, Ita perceives in her dream that Ariel is communicating to her, "I need you, return to my world," and she exerts all her effort to journey to the world of days. To escape from that day in the world, she could still distinctly hear the resonating prayers of all these individuals. When they commence reading them in the realm of the spirits, that day's world begins to disintegrate, and in the tangible world, we observe that Ita's position collapses, and ultimately, Mr. Jenny's does as well. From this perspective, we manage to function, and Ita becomes conscious from that day. Ita was now entirely liberated from that day's captivity. Ariel and his sister were exceedingly happy to witness this. The narrative then presents us with a scene 6 years later where Ita now had 2 children, and their life was quite normal. We observe that the brothers were engaging in their playtime when Ja's sister ventured outside to retrieve the children, and we observed the identical demon at their residence, now manifesting in human form, which appeared rather peculiar to Ita's sister. This suggests that the demon hasn't entirely possessed Ita, but hasn't retreated too far either. At the conclusion of the movie, we are presented with the actual girl upon whom the movie is based, affirming that it is indeed a true story, and it concludes with an interview featuring that girl.